Hi, I'm Wiley,
And I'm Maddie.
and it shouldn't happen again.
Okay, so welcome to this week's episode, and we're gonna have to start out with a little disclaimer because it's came to our attention that it might come off as we're trying to make fun of the victims or disrespectful since we're linking the cases to Taylor Swift songs.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not at all our intention.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone's feedback, and we just want to make it very clear. I think in the last 2 episodes we do say that we are sorry for everyone involved, because these are obviously murder cases. They're terrible situations, and we have no intention whatsoever of making it disrespectful or trying to make fun of anything, because we know that this is a serious topic.
Yeah. And another thing that we wanted to touch on, because this is supposed to be our personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
is it is not cool to go on people's social media and
Just
say things that are
rude.
rude or disrespectful.
Yeah, just be nice to people. That's really...
Yeah, criticism is okay, and it's
We appreciate criticism.
Yeah, it's appreciated. And if you're really trying to help us improve, but if you're just trying to give us criticism to be rude or hateful, we don't appreciate it, and we won't pay that much attention to it. We'll just ignore it. So
Yeah,
don't
because
even try.
we shake it off.
Amen. Haters gonna hate.
Right. But off of that note, and on to this week's case and song. It's my episode this week. So our song is 15 from Fearless. I love it so much. It's just such a good song. And our case this week is Pamela Smart, which is one of my favorites probably. It's so interesting. But I kind of chose a song because it also relates to the recent Taylor news of Travis Kelce, because it's in your life you'll do greater things than date the boy on the football team, and now she's dating the boy on the football team. I think they're adorable.
Oh my gosh.
But she's done greater things in life, so she can date the boy on the football team now.
You can't do this. She made a whole song saying that you can't date the boy on the football team, and now she's going back on her word.
But she did greater things.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like this song for this week is right on the nose for this case. Right on the nose.
She wrote it about this case.
Yeah, but not. But yeah, I love Taylor Swift. We're still in the market for Eras Tour tickets if anyone wants to share. We actually really want some for Indianapolis or any show, really.
Yeah, we can make it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll even take nosebleeds. Literally anywhere.
Yeah, any ticket as long as it's at the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we'll get right into it. So, Pamela Smart. We have to meet her first. She's an interesting character.
She's in the room with us, actually.
Pamela Smart?
You said we have to meet her. She's going to come over here and start talking to us.
I was scared. I was like, what? But, so she was born as Pamela Ann Wajos on August 16th, 1967 in Coral Gables, Florida. So Pam was described as very strong, had a very strong personality. So people either loved her or hated her.
I know someone like that.
I don't want to say this, but I feel like
she lives in Florida.
About me.
No, I love you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I make everything about me, so, I just had to put that in there.
Yeah.
But she was also an overachiever, which I think we can relate to, being the oldest.
Yeah, that's so true.
Crave academic.
Yeah. It's just validation in general. The other day, I was trying to reverse into a parking spot, and I couldn't. And it took me 40 minutes, and I had a mental breakdown. And my mom was like, it's not that big of a deal.
But it is. Because I need to do it right.
Because I need to be perfect.
Exactly. I feel you. So Pamela, as a student and throughout her adult life, she was a heavy metal freak, right? But she didn't, not that you have to look a certain way to like a certain type of music, but this girl was blonde hair, just your little blonde white girl.
If you and Alyssa had a baby.
Yeah, she's emo, and I'm not.
And basic.
Yeah, I'm very basic, but it's okay. But, so she was very into heavy metal music, which is why she liked Gregory Smart, who she met in 1986 on New Year's Eve. They met and like started talking, whatever, and then within like a year they began their relationship. She really liked Greg because she thought he was very handsome, obviously, big dimples, and was a very smiley person. She thought he was very, very friendly, and he was a friend of a friend for like, so like they were in the same circle, but they like started to get to know each other on this New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. And like I said, she liked him because they like kind of the same activities and music, and they were both like huge like heavy metal. Bleh,
Yeah.
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 So Greg, as a adolescent and young adult, wore a leather jacket, had long hair, and from straight out of high school, he went to working with like heavy metal machinery. And Pam was like, you know what? This guy really reminds me of John Bon Jovi. So she liked it. And their relationship was kind of like her. You either loved it or hated it. Because when I was researching, there were accounts of like him spitting beer in her face. But then one of their friends, her name was Tracy Parrish, she was like, oh no, they were actually really fun and they would love to tease each other and they would laugh and be silly together. She thought they were really cute and suited each other really well.
That's not us. We're the first one. That's why we need a couples counselor.
Yeah, that's why Winklers are little.
Yeah, I love Wink.
I love Wink too.
Even though she doesn't listen to our podcast.
Yeah, she said she only listened to 1.5.
No, just half. Not even 1.5.
Yeah, you're so right. Anyway, I need to stay on the story, girl.
0.5.
So, although everyone was like, oh, they're so cute, they were very different from each other. Pam was an overachiever and very intense, while Greg was kind of like, whatevs. And he was really nice to everybody, was a really soft person, but Greg was not a good student, and Pam was. So Pam really wanted to go to college, and, he didn't. So after graduating high school, Pam wanted to move back to Florida and enroll in Florida State University, located in Tallahassee, to study broadcasting. And during this time, they had like a long distance relationship from where they lived before to Florida. And it was very hard for them. Like, they were just kind of like, no. So Greg decided he wanted to change and that he missed his dear Pam. So he moved down to Florida, where he would later propose to her. And get this, they got married in 1989. Taylor's Version coming out October 27th. But when they moved in Florida, Greg was a landscaper. And eventually they decided that they were bored of Florida and moved to New Hampshire. So they're all over the place.
That's the next step.
Mm-hmm. So Greg wanted to finish his studies, and his father had an insurance company. So he was like, oh, I'll just work there.
Wait, pause. Did you say New Hampshire?
New Hampshire? Is it New Hampshire?
Yes. Just
My
New
bad.
Hampshire. That just processed. I'm like, New Hampshire?
I was reading it straight off of the notes, bro. But New Hampshire. I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know.
So
whatever.
Fancy.
So, like I said, he wanted to move into this insurance company that his dad owned. And Pam was like, no. But for moral support, she was like, fine. It's fine. But she wasn't happy about it. As I mentioned, Pam loved his long, luscious locks because it reminded her of John Bon Jovi, right? Well, he cut his hair. She was not happy. And as weird as it seems, I feel like this was a turning point in their relationship. Like,
because now he doesn't, like...
He's
not a cutie pie anymore, so she's got to get rid of him.
Yeah. It goes downhill from here, guys. So they had a little dog.
Take this as a note. Don't cut your hair without your girlfriend's consent.
Yeah. But yikes. But they had a little dog, and they named it Van Halen, because of their love of the band. I don't know how to say that one either. It's like New Hampshire, apples.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Potato,
so I'm just going along with it.
So in New Hampshire, Pam got a job as a media services director at Winnicott High School, as well as a mentor at a drug counseling project called Project Self-Esteem. So it was like DARE, essentially. That's what she was a mentor in, which, weird path, but whatevs. So she, in her media services director job, wrote press releases, made short videos. She taught kids how to use equipment. And while she was a mentor, she met sophomore volunteers named William or Billy Flynn and his friends, along with friend Cecilia Pierce.
Bro, that's really Xander.
I know, he does help us so much.
He helps the kids with the media equipment.
Yes, we love you, Xander. He always helps us. So, the kids really liked Pam because she was young and relatable. Like, you know, she was like fresh out of college, so they were like, oh, this lady's really cool. And while her job was going on here, Pam and Greg's relationship was like truly crumbling to the ground. Castle's crumbling, one would say.
Oh. Featuring Haley Williams.
Yup.
Jay loves Haley Williams, bro.
Yes. So, during the crumbling of her marriage and building her job at the high school, Pam became very emotionally and, as we'll see later, physically involved with 15-year-old Billy Flynn.
Whoa, wait, how old was she?
He was 15. She's like in her 20s.
That's legal.
That's illegal.
That's legal.
So to 15-year-old Billy and his friends, Pam was hot. Like, she was a hot commodity. They were like, rawr, I want that. And Pam was like, okay. Billy also shared a love for heavy metal music. So she was like, bam. So Pam and Billy kind of, started bonding over their love and for heavy metal music. And then they started bonding over their love for each other. Okay.
Oh, her and the 15-year-old?
Yeah, her and the 15-year-old.
Okay.
So Pam, while considering divorce, because it got that bad, she didn't want to because she didn't want to lose everything, including her dog. Like,
yeah,
she just didn't want to lose everything. Yeah. But Pam and Billy were, like, tight, right? They were all over each other. So, on one account, Pam asked Billy, she was like, oh, I have some copies over there that I just printed. Can you go get them for me? And Billy, of course, was like, yeah, sure, whatever. They weren't copies of papers. They were copies of photos of her in lingerie. And she was like, go get them, knowing that was what was there. And he was like, okay. These pictures are on the internet, by the way. Like, they're so cringy.
I'm just speechless. Like, I'm just sitting here with my mouth open. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. Like,
they're actually so ridiculous. Like, it's her posing like she's 5 in front of the, Kings Island Eiffel Tower. She's just, like, hands on her hips, like...
in front of the Kings Island Eiffel Tower.
That was my example. But,
can we recreate that?
But no, they're so bad. Like, and she made them for Billy. So it's like, yikes. But, Pam did, like, little acts of flirting, and then it kind of turned into, like, seduction to get Billy to, like, love her. And then it gets really bad, and they start to do things that adults should not be doing with
kids.
15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't... Actually, I was about to say, I don't see how this relates to the song 15.
We'll get there.
But...
we'll get there.
Partly.
So they, they did very inappropriate things to each other. I don't think I can say it, but...
do not say that on our school podcast.
So, while with Billy, Pam, was like, I just need to get rid of my husband, right? Like, I just need to get rid of him. So, they came up with the solution of, you know what? Why don't you kill Greg?
Like the 15-year-old?
Yeah. So Billy said, okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all starts, right? She's like, I hate my husband. Like, he's so controlling. He's so, like, awful. Like, I just need to get rid of him. And she kind of, like, gaslights into making Billy think it was his idea. But it's her idea. So Pam, he was kind of like, no, like, that's a lot. And she's like, well, fine, I'll end our relationship. And of course he didn't want that.
Yeah.
Because when you're 15 and someone tells you that they love you, you're gonna believe them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, he was like, well, I don't want to lose her, whatever. So as they were planning the murder, literally so many people knew about it. They told everybody because, they were teenagers. Like, they were younger than us. And, like, we gossip all the time.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they're gonna talk. And, like, the whole little mentor group that she had of the volunteers for the drug thing, like, they all knew about it. And they all told their friends.
How did she not get, like, arrested?
We'll get there. But here's another disclaimer. If someone's telling you that they're gonna murder someone, tell the police.
If someone has relations with a 15-year-old, tell the police. Like,
yeah.
No, that's not even, like...
Because, Billy, it's been said that all of his friends knew about his relationship with Pam because, he's a teenage
he's
guy.
bragging about it.
Yeah, he's like, yo, guess what I did last night? Like, stuff like that. And so it's this whole case. And it's, okay, this case is so brutal. Like, obviously, every murder case is, but this one is awful. And it could have been avoided if one of the 30 people
one person, yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's crazy.
If you hear someone say that it's normally not a joke, like, that's a bad thing to joke about. But, so, yeah, multiple people knew about it. So, Billy Flynn, Ray Fowler, Patrick Randall, and JR were all of the people that JR?
Oh.
Not your JR. But we're all of the people that were gonna end up doing it. So, they had 3 tries of breaking and entering. But, Pam would get mad and threaten their relationship because, like, the first time, Billy freaked out. And Ray Fowler was their getaway driver for the first attempt.
Yeah, he was in the getaway car.
Yeah. So he ended up giving Ray the wrong directions until someone else stepped in and was like, no, the house is here. And then by the time they found it, Greg was home. Which is crazy. Because if, like, literally a few seconds before, and that guy was dead that day. So they headed back because they missed their window. And then... like, Pam's whole alibi throughout this whole thing is she was at a school board meeting. So, Pam wasn't with the kids. The kids were just, like, literally on their own. Okay? Like, Pam was just
she had
gone.
a whole bunch of 15-year-olds going and killing her husband for her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Billy freaked and was like, wrong directions. So, the next month, there was another school board meeting, which Pam used as her alibi. And Pam let them, like, use her car. So they, like, the second time, Greg got home early. So that's try 2. So Greg got home early, which, again, if he would have gotten home the normal time that day, then he would have been dead. But, so, of course, Pam was furious, and they were gonna take her car, but then, one of them, JR, had the genius idea to take his grandmother's car to go murder a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And JR also stole a gun from his father, and they brought a large hunting knife for backup. So their whole, like, tactic on this one was to make it look like a burglary gone wrong. And Billy's friends decided that they wanted... Okay, by the way, Pam was paying them for this, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pam was also like, you know what? You can have the things, like, you can steal the things from the house, too, because I won't need them. So they stole stuff from the house. But they also got $1,000 from it, but only in installments. Because, she can't just hand out thousands to a bunch of teenagers. Because that's not going to look suspicious, like you giving your 15-year-old volunteer explicit pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't raise any red flags to me.
Yeah. So Pam did not want them, like, to get this one mixed up, the third try. So Pam drove them around, Billy, with his friends and Cecilia, and pointed out every single place that they needed to be, what they needed to do to avoid being out of sight and out of everything. Right? So, she made sure that they wouldn't flake, that they would do it this time, because she was like, she wanted it done.
Mm-hmm.
So Pam left the basement door unlocked, and they all taped their fingers so there would be no fingerprints. So they had a .38 revolver. That was the weapon that they took in. And Billy had to chase the dog that was barking and growling to get in the basement and be like, get it out. Like, get it out of the way. Which is so sad, because this poor dog.
At least they didn't kill it.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
A lot of times they'll just kill the dog.
Yeah.
Which, that makes me so sad.
I know, I love dogs. So they trashed the house, they slashed the pillows with the kitchen knife that they grabbed, and they, like, spread the stuffing across the living room floor. Like
the couch cushions?
Yeah, they just slashed them, because I don't know what robber slashes pillows.
Maybe she told them that there was, like, something in the couch cushions.
No, they said that they did it just to make it look like a burglary. But that'll come back to bite them in the butt. Yeah, they were literally just, like, trying to make it look like, because they were crashing things, like, throwing things everywhere. But they placed all of the pillows, or not all the pillows, all of, like, the valuables that they were taking in a pillowcase from Pam and Greg's bed. So Billy and Pete, after they were done trashing the house, they were just waiting for Greg to come home. They were just sitting there on the stairs waiting. Cool. So they were, just discussing about what they were going to do, because they didn't know what they were going to do when Greg came in.
Also, he's a grown man, and these are 15-year-olds. Like,
it gets really sad. It gets really, really terrible. So, we're just talking about it. Billy suggested throwing a towel over his head or hiding in the closet to jump out of him when he got to the...
Jump out of him?
Jump out at him.
Oh my god.
Jump out at him.
Billy's crazy.
No, so they're going to jump out at him. But they ended up settling on Pete coming behind the door and surprising Greg while Billy turned off the lights and closed the door. So when Greg actually came in, their positions got switched. So Billy grabbed Greg by the shoulders and jumps from behind the door. Before Greg could get away, Pete jumps at Greg's back and pushes him to the floor. And Greg, like you said, was a big guy. Like, these were two scrawny little boys. So, like, I guess it was the adrenaline. Like, I don't know. But,
in fact, like, Greg wasn't expecting it, and they had time to, like, prepare themselves.
Mm-hmm. So then, the lights were turned off, and the door was closed by Greg. Or by Pete, I'm sorry.
Wouldn't it be sick if we just turned off our lights then? Bam.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna say that other part. So the lights were turned off, and the door was now closed by Pete. So Billy had Greg on the floor by the stairs and was just beating him in the face. And Greg, of course, was trying to block any blows, because that's, like, obviously you're going to try and block whatever's hitting you in the face. Like, I mean, he was just going ham, like, beating him. So Pete, like, rushes over and grabs Greg by the hair and slams him into the wall. So then Pete screams, "Get down on your knees," while, like, putting the knife all in his face to make Greg comply, because they had that giant hunting knife.
Mm-hmm.
Greg responded with, "Just please don't hurt me, dude." Like, he just didn't want to be hurt, which was so sad. And he repeatedly, this is so sad. While this was happening, he repeatedly asked about the dog and if he was okay and if they'd done anything to the dog.
That would be me, bro.
Like, that's so sad.
If they killed my dog.
Like the gracious guy Billy was, he was like, "Don't worry, the dog's okay." Okay.
At least they didn't kill the dog.
So then they demanded that Greg take off his wedding ring. And Greg, in his final moments, in the murder that his wife conducted, said, "I can't, my wife will kill me." So
she already did.
This marriage is literally crumbling, and he's telling these kids who are beating him and shoving a knife in his face that he can't give them what he wants because Pam will kill him and get mad. Like,
she already did kill you.
Yeah. So, he procrastinated a little. I know, yeah. Like, Billy was, like, playing with his wallet, because he was procrastinating because he was about to kill someone. So originally Pete was supposed to do it, but Pete chickened out because he was boasting to his friends. He was like, I can do it. Like, I'm going to do it. I want to know what it feels like to kill someone. Which, again, if you hear this, tell the police, bro. Like, goodness. So then the moment came, and Pete couldn't do it. So Billy did. Then 16-year-old, he's now 16, Billy Flynn and 17-year-old Patrick Randall broke into the Smart condo on May 1st, 1990, and killed Greg. Supposedly, according to both the boys' accounts, Patrick held Greg down while Billy laid the final shot straight in the head and killed Greg Smart. Greg's last day was spent with his parents, family, and client. Pam was interviewed many times by the police, and she refused, obviously, that she had anything to do with it. She was like, this is awful, like, you know, playing it up.
Yeah.
And they told her many times, don't talk to the press. If you talk to the press, it's going to get out of hand really fast. So, what did Pam do?
Talk to the press, obviously.
Of course. Because this girl is like, she just wants all the attention all of the time. Like, yeah. Like, just was
just kidding.
A terrible person. Maddie pointed at me because I love attention, but
yeah, it's a joke.
I do, but not like this. So Pam's self-absorbedness made everybody really suspicious, because the robbery part was too strangely organized. Like the throwing of things on the floor, like it was, and also, yes, robberies gone wrong happen, but normally they don't get this brutal. Because they found him laying in, like, his own blood, obviously, like, fallen from his knees. So, like, and they also didn't take his wallet, his ring, or his car.
Yeah, you know,
so
if you're gonna rob someone, you gotta do it right.
Yeah. And so, they were kind of like, that's weird. So they started, like, asking Pam and, like, everything, and it was really weird to them. And Pam also, when the police like were you know, searching her house for evidence, like they left it a mess because, you know, they were tearing everything apart, and she goes, who's gonna clean this up? Like, she was so mad that they, like, you know, looked for evidence because her house was a mess. She's like, who's gonna clean this up, man? Like, okay. So, at this point, they don't know that it was Billy. But, after the murder, the day after, they went back to school because they're 15 years old, 16 years old.
Oh my god. Didn't even do it, like, on a Friday night, so they got most of the weekend off.
And Billy told Sal Parks exactly what he did. This part is sickening. Billy brought Sal lunch with the lunch money he stole from Greg's wallet to prove that he had killed Greg. Like, what?
I'm so done.
And so, you know what Sal did? He kept his mouth shut. Because he just did.
Just because for funsies.
Yeah. So do you remember Cecilia Pierce, who I mentioned?
Yeah.
So she knew exactly what was going to happen because, you know, she was friends with Billy and Pam throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, she was involved in the planning, I thought.
Yeah, she's involved in the planning.
JR.
Yeah. So she knew exactly what was going to happen, and she decided that the secret was just too much. After months, 2 failed attempts before it actually happened, and months of planning, she decided it was too much. So she got to work and confessed to her coworkers what had happened.
Well, in her defense, she might have not thought they were actually going to. Like, she thought they were just talking it up. So now that, like, it's actually happened.
That's fair. See, we'll find out later, but there's a lot of, like, stuff surrounding her that's really weird. But
see, because, yeah, it could not be that, and it could be, like, she either just wanted to throw him under the bus or something, like, she got mad.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I feel like it would be a lot more once,
yeah,
like, it actually happens, because you're like, well, shoot, now I know, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, so she told her coworker what happened, and her coworker told her parents, who told the police. So they went on other confessions from kids that they gave their parents because, you know, these kids that did it were confiding in their parents because it was too much to keep in that they assisted or, like, killed someone, assisted in the murder. But there was still Pam. So at this point, we have all the kids. Like, they have all the kids. They have most of their confessions, but they couldn't get Pam's. So Cecilia was interviewed, like, more than, like, 3 times, and she just denied what happened every single time. She's like, I didn't know, like, Pam didn't do anything. Like, she just confessed to this coworker, and her coworker told the police what she had said, but she was denying to the police, right? So, she ended up confessing that she knew Pam was involved and, knew it was gonna happen, that the whole thing was going down, and she knew about it. Because Pam was also, like, you know, threatening her if you tell the police, blah, 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 blah.
I'm gonna do this and this.
Yeah. But, so they ended up wiring her to have a conversation with Pam. And she got Pam's confession. But, when I was listening to this, I was listening to Morbid about it. I love Morbid.
Morbid.
But, she, like, Pam hugged her and literally was, like, so close to finding the wires. And in the confession tape, she goes, this isn't her exact words, but she was like, I swear you're gonna come in with wires one of these days. And she had wires on. There were multiple times that she had wires on, but this is when she got the confession. But she was like, yeah, one of these times you're gonna come in here with wires and get me caught or something like that. And she had wires on. But she ended up confessing.
God. Stop, that gave me chills. That's so scary. I've been like, yeah, that's so funny.
So William, or Billy, Flynn, and Patrick Randall, who physically pulled the trigger and testified against Pam in trial, pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder and were sentenced to 40 years to life, with the option to shave 12 years off if they behaved themselves. So their getaway driver, JR, was sentenced to life in prison for accomplice with second-degree murder. He was released on parole in 2005. And then Ray Fowler, who waited in the car, was sentenced to 30 years for the charges of conspiracy and attempted burglary. And he was released for parole in 2005. Billy is out right now. Cecilia never got time, but Pam's in for life. She's still in there. And she's, like, multiple times, you know, tried for parole and, like, everything, but it's been denied. I'm pretty sure she exhausted her last try recently, too.
Womp womp.
Yeah. But the song is 15 because it's, like, when someone tells you that they love you, you're gonna believe them.
Yeah, and you're young and you're silly, so you're just gonna do anything for them.
Exactly. So that's exactly what Pam took advantage of in Billy and ruined this poor boy's life. And not to mention Greg's and everyone else in Greg's life.
And JR.
And all of them, yeah. So we send our condolences to all of the families of the victims and everyone involved. This was a tragic case. But
And another thing I wanted to mention is we were talking to someone else about this earlier, is we try to make these episodes, like, a little more, like, lighthearted, so it's easier to listen to, because if we're sitting here being, like, super sad, then it's gonna make, like, whoever's listening super sad, and it's gonna be a lot harder to listen to than if we're sitting here trying to be, like, bubbly and stuff. Like, we're not meaning any disrespect, we're just trying to make it, like...
Because if you listen to other podcasts like ours, they don't just straight talk about the murder. They have other aspects of it, just to make it, like, lighthearted, because it's not a fun topic, and it's a really terrible topic, but it's interesting to people. So if you mix it in with a little bit of something that's happy, then it makes the content easier to listen to, like Maddie said.
Yeah, it makes it more aware so that people can be aware of the victims.
Yeah, so that's our case for this week and our song. Everybody go listen to 15 by Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure
song.
Yes, I'm pretty sure there are a few, like, movies loosely based around this case, but I found it shocking. This is probably the most shocking case.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
That I've ever, like, listened to. I would listen to Morbids, because Morbids is a 2-parter, and it goes really in detail, and it's so interesting.
And we love Morbid. Just go listen to every Morbid.
Yes, I love Morbid so much.
Every 400. All the 400 episodes.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. They're my favorite. But
they are my favorite.
Yeah. So go listen and have a great week. We can't wait to see you next Tuesday. We hope you liked our last episode too. But I'm Wiley.
And I'm Maddie.
And it shouldn't happen again.